Alright, what's up my people? It's education time. If you know nothing about me and you haven't seen any of my videos, one of my main reasons I do these videos is to educate my clientele and potential clientele of what to expect when they go to what should be a quality service station that does things like PPF, window tint, ceramics, color change wraps, you know, all the specialized things that we do. Now, we've got a Hellcat. This is a new Hellcat. It's only got 20,000 miles on it. In the world of cars, that's pretty damn new. However, it's a Hellcat. No one gets Hellcats and drives them nicely. So, when my client bought this one, yes, he bought it used, it looks really good outside to the untrained eye, but he wants to protect it, so he's having us put PPF on it. Now, PPF does a phenomenal job of protecting paint from rock chips, divots, and anything that may cause aesthetic issues with your paint. However, if it's already been driven around a bit, and especially the way that I'm sure this car has been, which the paint is telling me how it's been driven, and for only 20,000 miles, it's been driven hard. It can cause issues with the final result of the PPF, because once you have little divots like we have here, now I'm gonna zoom in and show you, while it doesn't look that bad right here, right now, it looks very minor. Once you put PPF on it, it creates this little TP that creates a little air gap and makes it extremely visible. Let's demonstrate. Now the area of demonstration is going to be here. As you can see, that divot very, very well. But it's definitely not what you want to see whenever you want nice, even, flawless paint. So I'm going to go ahead and find a piece of spare film and let's get it installed. See if I can find a spare piece of PPF to use for this. E-ray diffuser. Let's see. This is not labeled, but this definitely is a cutout of some sort. Yeah, that'll work. Here's my little goodie bag. There it is. You know, I really need to get a hook and put all my different tool belts on a hook somewhere so I just know where they are every freaking time. Cut off a little slice here. Whoop. Stick her on. Now what you're gonna see, zoomed in, you see all this? These are those little divots and impact areas translating through the film. You see how it's, see if I can get it to, you see how it's created that little, come on, that little TP and sort of like that air gap around it? That's what they will all do if they're not corrected. Now, so what the fuck, why is... Now, so that you can see that this is contamination on the paint itself. Well, I guess not contamination, it's a defect in the plastic, and it's not contamination in the film. We're gonna peel this back. It's right here, right? In all these different areas. This and this. See if I can not get my fat fingers in the way. See that? That is in the paint. That is where a rock chip hit. Where's the other one? The other big one, at least. So right here. This. It's a rock chip on the plastic itself. So you might be thinking, cool, yeah, we understand that happens. What's the fix? Well, the fix is wet sanding. We need to wet sand the entire surface, knock those divots down, because the way rock chips and defects react on plastic versus paint are two very different things. On paint, it chips it. On plastic, instead of chipping the paint, because the substrate is softer, it not only chips the paint, but it also like morphs the plastic itself. And now that morphing of the plastic is what we're seeing here. And this thing is freaking riddled with it. So, discussed it with the client, showed him sort of the exact same video, made a little custom video for him, showing him and explaining that to him, and what the cost would be added on to do this. Because, quite frankly, he didn't realize the front end was that bad. He just didn't perceive it. But he does want it to be done correctly, and what's the point of putting PPF on if it's going to make the perception of the car aesthetically worse? There's no point in that at all. So, we discussed the extra cost for that, and full transparency, what we came up with, the price that I'm giving him to resand. So we're doing a full 2-stage. We're doing 1,500, then 3,000, and then a compound and a polish to bring the gloss back. I personally am going to do it to try to help keep costs down. As I am the owner here, I can, help with costs in that way instead of having Carly, my employee, do it, because we are doing a full body PPF on this car. So I take all of that into consideration whenever I'm doing my pricing. For me personally, to wet sand this and do that 4-stage process, I'm going to charge them $750. It's going to be done right. It's going to look amazing. And if we have any big areas like this, like we have a few areas on as I go that the sanding isn't fully getting out because the divot goes in and comes out. Once we get that mountain off, there's still a little valley. We're filling that in with paint, then we'll sand that down to make it as fluid and nice as possible. So, if you have a car that you want PPF'd, obviously the ideal time to do it is immediately. But you need to understand the good, bad, and ugly about the entire process in case you've got a few miles on it, and understand the difference in the way that impacts happen and occur on the metal versus the plastic. Because we did have chips around here. Well, we've already PPF'd this, but you can see we had a rock chip here. We filled it in, sanded it. PPF's already done there. So we did have a few areas on the metal as well that were easily fixed, way easier than this, at least less time consuming. So, the more you know, the better informed you are, the better decision you can make in choosing a shop to do the work for you. So don't be fooled. Know all the facts. If any of this brings up more questions to you, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. I don't know which way I need to do it, but this is my email. Contact me directly, man. I'll answer any questions you got. We can have conversations about it. I'm here to make your car look good and protect it however you want it done. All right, so for whatever reason, it slipped my mind to include the sanding process that I did on this portion of the front bumper. It slipped my mind. I usually do that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to pretend like I, do it just for the video because, well, I don't like to bullshit people. So I'm just going to show you the result of it. And, well, while we're here, I'm also just going to talk about this new sanding paper from CarPro. Damn, it's good. Like, I usually use Trizact for this type of stuff because I'm not wanting to create glass. So you use the foam sandpaper instead of the paper sandpaper. If you know the difference, then you know, and or why we do it. I can create an entire video just on that. If you want to know the difference between sandpaper and why and when you should use it depending on the effect you want to create, let me know in the comments. I'll create said video. But for now, we're just going to show you what I did and the result of it. So, sanded all this down, looks nice, and let's see what the result is. Now, mind you, obviously I haven't polished this out, and I've only done one step. I've only done the 1,500. I still need to do the 3,000, the compound polish, which will bring my shine back. But you will still be able to see the effect of the before, which was the PPF on there with the hills and the little teepees, versus now that it's nice and flush, we're not going to have any of that at all. It's just going to be nicely laid, even, and beautiful. Now I am getting a new piece of PPF for this, obviously. Maybe not obviously, but I guess it should be obviously. And I'm gonna get it laid on here. And let's see if I'm full of shit or not. All right. Lay down.
Oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good.
Opticle. If you know, you know. Best PPF on the market. Now, as you can see, in the same spot it was before, let's see what you don't see. Now what you don't see, that was actually just some dust. What you don't see are any of those little nasty TPs. And some of this stuff you're seeing, this is just dust on there, so don't freak out and say blah, 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 blah. This isn't a perfect install, that's not the point here. The point is, you don't see any TPs. You don't see any, what is it? Plastic molding sticking up. This is gonna be a beautiful install and look amazing. Now, let's also mind the fact that completely sanded with 1500 grit, optical PPF, I mean, all I did was put PPF on it. Look at that shine. I haven't even polished the thing out yet. Tell me that doesn't look good. So there we are. Don't let any installer tell you that it can't be corrected. Now, if you want to pay for it to be corrected, that's a whole nother thing. But if you want perfect, perfect can be produced. But don't be cheap. It is what it is.
Trendsetter, whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center, hit it dead center.